Add myself there now. How about now? There should be sound on the Facebook side. Turn the camera off.
There's still no sound.
How about now? You will in a second.
All right, there you go. There you go.
There we go. There we go. So this is my first time doing it this way. I'm using StreamYard.
Different view than it's ever been.
Okay, let's turn this off. All right. So everybody hears me on Facebook now, right? So we're good to go. So I want to say all of that again just to say this is our 5th 5-day challenge. If you're brand new, welcome, welcome. We created a company called Ivy League Crypto Academy, which is a branch underneath the Ivy League Coaching Academy. We want to bring you financial education, financial freedom, understanding the ability to create your own destiny. How many of you would like to have your own recession-proof business, recession-proof life, where you don't even know that a recession is taking place? And the one thing that we are doing different this time around is, again, like I said, I am opening this up to everybody. Everybody has an opportunity to be able to hear about what the ILCA, the People's Money Challenge, is all about. Tanya, what are you doing? Everybody can see you.
Okay.
Come on now. You can't. I already closed the door.
Okay.
And the window.
Okay.
My wife, man.
Sorry.
Everybody sees you.
Sorry.
All right. I don't know what she's doing. Everything's closed here. So anyways, we're opening up the 5-day challenge to everybody tonight only. Tonight only. Normally you have to register because I want to give you guys an opportunity to see and experience what everybody has for the past 4 months and be able to jump in and get involved. Also, we also have the VIPs. And normally on the 5-day challenge, I stop the stream and just allow the VIPs to stay and be able to ask questions. This time around, no. I'm going to keep the stream on. I'm going to stay live, but only the VIPs will be able to ask questions, though. But you'll be able to at least participate and watch and have the opportunity to decide if you would like to be first register for the challenge, and second, if you actually want to be a VIP as well. So let's go ahead and get started now. The way the 5-day challenge works is every day this week, we're going to be covering a specific topic of cryptocurrency. We all had a day one before. Do you remember the first time you ever heard about Bitcoin? You know, I remember my first time. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was nothing but monopoly money being used by nerds who live in their mom's basement every day. I didn't think there was anything real to it. But as time went on and I saw this thing called Bitcoin continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I said, you know, the smart thing to do would at least to be involved. But I didn't know where to begin. I didn't know who to ask. I saw people making millions in this. And when I asked them, how does this work? Their answer was, I don't know. Bitcoin just keeps going up. Now, I don't know about you, but I know things don't just keep going up. We see how the stock market works. We see how Forex works. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand markets are volatile, especially crypto. So I searched through the internet. I went to YouTube and Google, which I do not advise that you do. Google and YouTube. I did that. And I realized after 6 months that 50% of the information that I received was incorrect. I didn't know what question to ask. I didn't know where to begin. But I did learn 2 things that changed my life. See, this will be my 24th year in direct sales network marketing. I've made 7 figures in this space. I've hit every top position that there is. I've been vice president of sales and marketing for multiple companies. And I walked away from that to do crypto full time because 1, blockchain technology is going to disrupt every single industry on the planet today, whether you like it or not, believe it or not, trust it or not, your opinion is irrelevant. You're going to be driving down the street and you're going to see Bitcoin ATMs all over the place. You're going to go get your cup of Starbucks coffee. You're going to see we now accept crypto for payment. You're going to go to your job and your boss is going to say you need a crypto wallet because we're now paying you in crypto. Or if you want to keep your job, you're going to need to have some form of blockchain technology experience or skills if you want to have a job in the future. And then the second thing that I learned really changed my life. And that cryptocurrency represents the greatest economic shift in wealth in the history of mankind for the most amount of people. And I say the most amount of people because that's the most important. There have been other economic shifts in wealth before. How many of our ancestors had a chance to participate in the gold rush, in the third industrial revolution, in the internet boom? Not many, because there's always been a barrier of entry. You see, here, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter your race, sex, religion, color, or creed. There are no isms here. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your college education. Only thing that matters is that you have a cell phone, which all of you do. You have access to the internet and a willingness to learn. The last part is the most difficult, the willingness to learn, because as we have access to information, most people don't want to learn. It's easier to stay broke. It's simple to get wealthy. It just takes work. How many of you are willing to learn? And since we all have a beginning, I felt like I was in the Matrix when I learned about this crypto stuff, that how can it be so simple, yet most people don't even know that it even exists. And that's why we have these crypto boot camps, this 5-day challenge to introduce you to the fastest growing industry that is going to revolutionize the entire world. And then you take it upon yourself to decide if this is something you would like to pursue. And I'm not here alone to tell you about it. I have friends with me. As you see on the screen, we have a whole bunch of VIPs that have been a part of this challenge. We have people that have walked off their job because of the information that you're learning here. And then I have a special guest tonight, somebody that I have a whole lot of respect for, because as I said, this is my 24th year in this industry. I had a day one, I had a year one, and I had to learn from somebody. And the person who had the most direct personal influence in my course in my career to where I am today is the gentleman that I am about to introduce to you. I am humbled, excited, and honored to have not only a 7- and 8-figure earner, but an individual that has a direct and indirect impact on changing thousands of people's lives, creating hundreds of millionaires. He's sought out after the whole world, not only on the financial side, but the personal self-improvement industry. This is an individual that has multiple sources of income coming in, world sought after, one of the best speakers that I've ever listened to, one of my all-time favorites. He's also a Morehouse brother of mine, which is always cool points for me. And I consider him my big brother. So I want to bring up Mr. Nelson to the screen. And Byron, you can go ahead and unmute yourself because I have it that way. So there you go. You're all good. So Mr. Nelson, the floor is all yours. Share with everybody why they need to pay attention. What's going on?
Man, it's such an honor to be here. More so than anything else, I'm truly humbled. And it's one of the things that if people read between the lines, we need to do a whole lot more of. You know, it's really the collaboration and really diving right into it. But before I even go there, I have to pay homage because Mr. Ivy does not have to do this. For those of you listening on Facebook or any other medium that you might be on, this is truly a servant's heart. And that for me, before I align myself, I don't get on public displays. Very rarely do I. I just believe there's something that I had a conversation with Gary Vee, and that is, and it's I think it's an alignment. Most people are successful that are truly, authentically successful. Either you're talking about it or you're doing it. It's very difficult to be doing both of them at the same time. And that's one of the things that I love about Brandon. He's already done it. So now he's actually serving because if you will get to the fourth level of true success, it's about sharing. And it's amazing how many false prophets you have out there that are attempting to do self-help and they still need help. They're doing women's empowerment and they still are not empowered or disempowered. You know, they're trying to tell you about money and they don't have a pot to piss in, but they're in the journey up. They have a horse and a buggy. They're on their way. Here we come. So this is a man who's actually accomplished and is doing everything that he's talked about doing for you. He's sharing what he's already accomplished. He's already been able to do it, not just for himself, but for so many other people. So for those that are contemplating being part of the program, what I love most about this is that there is no agenda except to bless you. That's what you really need to take away from this conversation. There is, everybody else wants to get you into a program, this and the other. I'll give you my opinion on all those. There's some good. Just like finding a great woman or finding a great man, they're very few and far between. And if you don't have a guide, you can end up in a black hole and be, I actually had somebody who went through 2008 in real estate and had over 28 properties. And they got hurt so bad that they're renting now. They made more than enough money to come back and buy property, but they are so jaded about what they incurred during that space of time that they don't believe in owning any property because of how they got hurt. I've seen people do that in the stock market where they've lost all kinds of money and they're like, I don't believe in stocks. I'll never, it's just, what it is an uninformed, uneducated, unguided individual that got excited about doing something without having goalposts and having lighthouses to be able to help you navigate. Now, if you decide to walk, at some point when you're a child, when you're an infant, you're going to get up and fall down. It doesn't mean that you stay down. It means that you identify those that are walking the way you want to walk and you continue to get up and strive to do exactly that. If you drive on the street, you're going to hit a pothole. You don't hit one pothole, get a flat tire, pull your car over and start walking for the rest of your life. So we can't stop you from some of the mistakes you're going to make. But what we can do is help you get up much faster than you've ever gotten up and utilize the mistakes that you make. In fact, I'm a great advocate of mistakes. I believe the person that makes the most mistakes will make the most money in any industry. If in turn, you're learning from your mistakes. If you are not, because you'll notice the people that are losers, that's what they do. They lose. That's, it's like, why do liars lie? That's what liars do. They lie. What do winners do? They only know how to win. Even in a loss, it's a loss. That's singular. It's one loss. They'll go back and get 3 wins off of that one loss. Does that make sense? Nod your head if you guys are with me in that conversation. All right. So, all that being said, I say that to edify in the most genuine, authentic way how much love I have for my little big brother, because when he stands on his wallet, he's really big. He's taller than me. And so I have so much respect for Mr. Brendan Ivy and his wife that reaches through the screen. My girl will reach through the screen. I have no problem with her reaching through the screen. I'll pull her in. Come on in. So come on. Girl, go ahead, Mrs. Ivy. Come on in the screen. You can do whatever you want. That's why she's a queen. They can do what they want when they want to do it. And they do it only to help and support us when we are making mistakes. So it's all good. All that being said, let's just jump right into this conversation. So the thing about this being the first day and the money's challenge about crypto, and if you look at the marketplace, here's what I want you guys to be present to. A lot of people are going to have opinions about crypto. They're going to have opinions about you and your money, how you invested, what you're getting involved in, what you're excited about, and your education or lack of education. And here's what's rampant in the marketplace. It's called opinions. Here's what I learned. You might want to write this down. What I learned about opinions is you can't deposit them. It's a very powerful conversation. I tried it, and Mr. Lofty used to tell you, and Martin used to tell you, everybody tell you, if you try to deposit one, it's worth nothing. But in this marketplace in which you're looking at, in regards to where we are right now, and really to understand the fiat that we have going on in stocks, in commodities, do you understand that where people will tell you, oh my God, it's down at $30,000 per Bitcoin? Do you understand that all mediums of money have crashed right now, that we're on the brink of a major recession, that it has nothing to do with crypto? Do you understand that the rich, the wealthy, are the smart ones that are very excited about this time and are buying as much as they can in every capacity? This is the gold mine. These are the times that we actually get excited when everything drops. And it's just from an entrepreneur perspective, and forgive me if to be able to call somebody on the brink of stupidity, But it's my understanding, even in my real estate line of business, to buy low and sell high. Right now, if you do stocks, buy low and you sell high. If you do gold, it's buy low and you sell high. If you do crypto, it's buy low and sell high. I don't understand how much more clear that can get that right now, if you buy low and you sell high. I'm sorry, Pastor Blunt. No, I'm kidding. But come on, you guys, let's be real about this. Let's be real about this. Let's just keep it real. It's like when you understand, and do I have control to just show like a 30-second piece on mine? Do I have that real quick? I have to do this real quick. It's just so. It's one of the things. It's like when it's all over, when you see everything everywhere. And I was looking everywhere. I had to get this off of Twitter because it wasn't even on YouTube, and I had to just it's really quick. Okay, let me go here. Let me go here. Okay, excellent. Can you guys see that? Sherry, can you see that?
Yes, we can. All good.
God, I want to make sure my sound is on so you can actually hear. This is a lot of sound. Right here, right here, right here. Brandon, can you see that again?
Yes, sir.
This is interesting. Interesting. It's just me. But I was in advertisement. I was in television. I did marketing and management for many companies, in which I know, especially from a radio perspective and a television perspective, for a commercial during an NFL championship, we won't even go there. That's up at $7 million a slot. But for the NBA championships right now, that's a minimum of $2.5 million for a 15-second slot. $2.5 million. And you have to buy them right now in bulk of 15 to 20. They don't let you just buy one slot. So you're talking about 2.5 times 10, $25 million to promote to the world where it has the highest viewership on the planet between the NFL and the NBA championships for Coinbase and Crypto.com and FTX that now has everyone from Steph Curry all the way around. We're talking about at least a good $100 million in the last week, at least $100 million that they're promoting for something that won't exist tomorrow is what the population is telling you. Now, I don't know you. I don't know about you, but I think that would be called stupid to even think or be skeptical when you have the largest arena paid for advertisement in Crypto.com. They changed it. It's not a banner. It's not. It's on every sleeve of every NBA player. Crypto.com. They paid for the advertisement, the largest in the history of any amount of money paid in the U.S. to promote a medium that will make each and every one of us flat out wealthy. Now, here's the trick. As you tap into this 5-day challenge, and I encourage you and those that are looking on the social media site to make sure that you subscribe for the VIP. It costs $97. First of all, if you don't have $100, you shouldn't even be on here. I'm gonna be honest with you. Brandon knows me. I'm a straight shooter. I don't bite my tongue. You know, I mean, that's a round of drinks for anybody. That's where I'm going with this. And I don't make someone wrong for being broke. I've been broke, I've been rich, I've been broke, I've been rich. I'm going to be broke again at some point, but it'll be relative because it'll be at $100 million broke to the person who has $1 billion. But what I want you to understand in this conversation is that in your journey of doing this, why I said $100, a person with penny pinch, getting access to the real conversations that I was blessed to be a part of in one of these rounds. That's where the real information, because you have so many real masters that are in the game, that are in the water, as a community and a village that want to contribute to your success, where a closed mouth never gets fed. If you're sitting back being a wallflower, you shouldn't be an entrepreneur. If you're sitting back waiting for success to knock on your door, you shouldn't be an entrepreneur. If you're sitting back hoping that somebody says something that you're scared to talk about, you should stay broke. Because until you get involved, until you write this down, participate in your own rescue, will you ever be successful? And so what I'm looking at in this journey where we are right now, where I go with the word, and I don't like using the word stupid. I don't like calling anybody stupid. I like to say more, because I actually, being, as Brandon said, a master of the use of our language. I studied one time. I got to digress for just 1 second. I'm going to turn it over to my partner in a second. But I digress because I remember a sportscaster actually got fired for this guy. He was getting high, he was drinking, he was out with women, and they caught him on film, which, and then and the sportscaster was huge, making millions of dollars, got fired because you're like, look at how stupid this guy is to make this kind of money and act like this and get caught on camera. And the reality of that, back into what all of us have done here, is that the guy wasn't stupid, nor is anybody on here stupid. I don't want anybody on here to interpret that I'm calling you stupid, especially if you're sketchy, skeptical, or suspect and don't understand the medium of crypto, okay? Please don't take it like that. What I'm saying is, back to the sportscaster, he should have said, what he did was completely stupid. His act in doing what he got caught doing, being worth so much, was a stupid one time off, could have been 2 or 3, but it didn't make him stupid, it makes his action stupid. I believe a person who does not take the time to learn, understand, observe, and know what they're talking about should shut up and move out of the way for the people that are doing it. It's okay to not know everything. Unfortunately, everybody wants to have an opinion to know everything about everything. It's okay to sit back and learn. But right now, to lay the foundation for you to jump into this game, you need to understand an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur's mentality. And a serial entrepreneur mentality, the number one trait, I'm not saying number one because we could have a training on that, Brandon knows. I'm going to say one of the top 5 traits that you have to become massively successful and wealthy is a long-term mentality. The unfortunate side of why people do not make money in this game of business, period, I didn't just say crypto, business, is because they are transferring from a microwave mentality of getting a check on Friday or bi-weekly, or waiting for the government, or putting in their time and trading time for money, and they're used to getting just pennies on the dollar, and becoming, just like from an animalistic perspective, dependent from a psychological perspective, and not knowing anything other than, as we were looking at a piece the other day about T.D. Jakes and understanding that piece. That's a powerful piece. To understand why is it that if a lion is locked in a cage, why does it need a lock if it's been inhabited there since it was a child? Because that lion, when it comes out, instinctively knows, I'm not supposed to be in the cage. Why are all of you on this call? Instinctively, you know you're supposed to be wealthy. You deserve to be wealthy. And let me tell you something. This is the economic landscape of wide open, wild, free land, as if it was just discovered in its embryonic state of 12 years. In understanding the stock market has been around for 93 years. Now understand this conversation. The stock market has digressed and dipped a minimum of 10+%. 50 times in 93 years. Did you hear what I just said? It has crashed and dipped 50 times. That means every 2 years, we say losing money is a correction. It's a euphemism. Every 2 years, you will lose money. Position yourself within systems to protect yourself and your collection, to be able to leapfrog the rest of the population and be able to quantum leap everybody else by just having the right strategies. We talk about systems, and system itself stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. That air you're breathing right now is called an ecosystem. That tax money you pay, that's a tax system. Those of you that have children, you put them in the school system. When you saw the eclipse the other night, for those that were truly about understanding energy, that's called in what? A solar system. Until you understand how, and this is what this program is about, until you learn how to leverage and take the time, long game, take the time. You have the luxury and blessing to have woken up this morning on Miracle Monday to look for your miracles. My job is for you to expect miracles in this conversation tonight and for the rest of this week. Expect them. Don't be surprised. Oh my God, I just learned something. You were supposed to learn something. Oh my God, I just learned how to make $10,000 a week instead of $10,000. Oh my God. You should expect to understand when everything else is in chaos, there's a small percentage of people that are flat out getting rich. And it's not because they're smart, just smart enough to position themselves with systems that are already proven, that are documented, to leverage. My 3 words, I'm gonna leave you with this for those who want to take the notes. My 3 favorite words in the what I call the money Bible, since this is called the money challenge. My 3 favorite words: leverage, compounding, and residual. That's Mr. Nelson's 3 favorite words in the business, economic, money Bible: leverage, compounding, and residual. Say it with me in your head. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. I see all of you say it. Say
Residual.
Compounding, and leverage. If I could learn these 3 things, I could put 8 figures behind my family's name. Please pay attention to this conversation. Please pay attention to all the leaders he has on here. Please pay attention to Mr. Brandon Ivey. My name is Byron Nelson. God bless. The floor is yours.
Go ahead, everybody. Go ahead and clap right there. Now you see why I am how I am, because I got to hear that every single week. And you only just saw a piece. So again, Mr. Nelson, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to share that, not just with the VIPs, but we are actually streaming this everywhere to show people the power of what our community is all about, the collaborative people that we have involved that you can learn from. And Mr. Nelson is going to be sticking around. So when we go to our Q&A section, that you guys won't be able to ask him any questions, you'll be able to do so. Understand that, I mean, he charges thousands of dollars for this information that you guys are having access to. He says something very important about, us wanting and knowing that we deserve to be wealthy. And the reality for most people, when you turn on the news today, their concerns is what? There's no baby formula. The recession is here. The gas prices are high. The inflation is out of control, and we want the government to fix all that. And we did a live the other day talking about what is the answer to a recession, and I was simple: make more money. People that are making more money don't realize it's a recession because the money we're making is outpacing recession. So we still don't look at a price tag whenever we want to go and purchase something. We can afford it. But however, that's not the reality for most people. And most people, if you're working a $75,000 a year job, 9-to-5 job, and I take nothing away from that, you got to do what you got to do. I'm 45 years old right now. So if I work for the next 20 years of my life, by the time I hit 65 years old, $75,000 a year, and I'm blessed to not have to pay taxes, that's $1.5 million that I have to pull from for the rest of my life. 1.5 million. Doctors, weddings, funerals, kids going to school, your mortgage, your car, vacations, everything's coming out of that pot. What if I told you that if you did the simple thing and got educated and put in the space that's going to do the 3 things that Mr. Nelson talked about? And I love that. That is the wealth building principle. And no wonder why he calls it the money Bible. When you're talking about leverage, compounding, and residual. That's wealth generation right there. If you put yourself in that position, what if you can generate a couple of $1 million in the next 3 to 5 years without having to do the 9 to 5? Would anybody be interested in hearing how to do that? Type me in the chat box if that's what you'd be interested to do, because that is what we're going to teach you. But I use a key word there. I said teach, not do for you, teach you. See, people say, Brandon, show me the money. To show you the money, I got to show you the fundamentals. You got to learn the basics. I used to play basketball, and whenever I ran into the gym, me and my buddies, the first thing we wanted to do was run to the three-point line and shoot baskets like we're Steph Curry. And then the coach would say, put the ball down, you're running for 2 weeks before you even touch a basketball. We needed to learn the fundamentals and the basics. The ILCA and this 5-day challenge is to introduce you to the basics first. People say, Brandon, what is the key? This is the key. Night 1, who is Satoshi Nakamoto? That's the key. Because if you ask the average person right now who thinks they know about money and finances, no matter how much success, 75% of them won't even know that the dollar is no longer on the gold standard. It hasn't been on the gold standard in my entire life. But we're not taught financial literacy. We're not taught the fundamentals. We're not taught what money actually is. People think, oh, is that what my wife was reading for? My $100 bill I had sitting here. Oh, here it is. People think that this is money. Money is energy. This is just a representation of what it can do for you. People don't even understand that. Money could be assets. It could be in your compounding, whatever real estate that you may have. It could be anything. This is not money. But we're not taught that. So you think Bitcoin is freedom. Bitcoin is not freedom. Bitcoin is a vehicle to get you to where you want to get to. But you got to know the basics and the fundamentals. So tonight, we're going to go back to the basic of who is Satoshi Nakamoto. So I'm going to share screen here. Give me 1 second. And we're going to talk about the beginning. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? The birth of Satoshi Nakamoto. This is the mystery of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is considered the preeminent cryptocurrency in the world, but there's still plenty of mystery surrounding its creation. Who came up with Bitcoin? Was it created by more than one person? And who is Satoshi Nakamoto? In 2008, that year, what happened in 2008? The beginning of the greatest recession since the Great Depression? That's what happened. So this isn't a coincidence that this took place. The first inklings of Bitcoin surfaced on the web. In August 2008, the domain name bitcoin.org was quietly registered online. 2 months later, a paper entitled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was passed around a cryptography mailing list. This is a white paper. I strongly urge and suggest that you read the Bitcoin white paper. If for whatever reason you don't like to read, which most adults don't like to do, you can go on YouTube, type in Bitcoin white paper Brandon ID, and I actually recorded myself reading the Bitcoin white paper. We also read it in the ILCA community a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago. Read the white paper. The paper is the first instance of the mysterious figure Satoshi Nakamoto's appearance on the web and permanently links the name Satoshi Nakamoto to the crypto. On January 3rd, 2009, 3,000 lines of code spell out the beginning of Bitcoin. This is why I like to call it like the Matrix. It's nothing but code. Bitcoin runs through an autonomous software program that is mined by people seeking Bitcoin in a lottery-based system. Over the course of the next 120 years, a total of 21 million coins will be released. Just over 19 million exist today, so you might think, wow, almost all the Bitcoin has been mined. Yeah, but every 4 years, it goes through something called a halving place. So Bitcoin that's being released is cut in half every 4 years. So it will take another 120 years before the last Bitcoin is mined. Long before we're gone, but our descendants will be able to benefit from what we do today. It's another thing that motivates me, legacy. Now, Satoshi Nakamoto didn't work entirely alone. Among Bitcoin's earliest enthusiasts was Hal Finney, a console game developer and an early member of the cypherpunk movement, who discovered Nakamoto's proposal for Bitcoin through the cryptocurrency mailing list. In a blog post from 2013, Finney was fascinated by the idea of a decentralized online currency. When Nakamoto announced the software's release, Finney offered to mine the first coins, 10 original Bitcoins from Block 70, which Satoshi sent over as a test. Of his interactions with Nakamoto, Finney says, "I thought I was dealing with a young man of Japanese ancestry who was very smart and sincere. I've had the good fortune to know many brilliant people over the course of my life, so I recognize the signs." Satoshi Nakamoto didn't work entirely alone. Now, Finney has flatly denied any claims that he was the inventor of Bitcoin and has always maintained his involvement in the currency was only ever secondary. In 2014, Finney died of the neurodegenerative disease ALS. In one of his final posts on a Bitcoin forum, he said Satoshi Nakamoto's true identity still remained a mystery to him. Finney says he was proud of his legacy involving Bitcoin, and that his cache of Bitcoins were stored in an offline wallet left as part of an inheritance to his family. Hopefully they'll be worth something to my heirs, he wrote. Okay. At the time, Bitcoin had briefly crossed $1,000 one time and dropped back down to $200 to $300. So at the time of him saying this, it was around $200 to $300. Do you think he can imagine it going to $69,000 one day? And just imagine how many Bitcoin he's sitting on. His family, his descendants are set for the next couple of 100 years. His heirs. How many of you know your great-great-grandfather's name? And if you don't, it's because he didn't leave you anything. How many of you would love for your heirs to know your name? Because what you do today in this short amount of opportunity is going to dictate your family tree for the next 200 years. And I don't say that lightly. In 2010, Bitcoin slowly started to become a viable currency. In 2010, a handful of merchants started accepting Bitcoin in lieu of established currencies. One of the first tangible items ever purchased with the crypto was a pizza. Today, the amount of Bitcoin used to purchase those pizzas is valued at $500 million. $500 million. You think, maybe, you know what, I shouldn't have bought those pizzas. I held on to my Bitcoin. One of the things about our courses when we teach you about your short-term and long-term strategy is based off of experience, because one of the biggest mistakes I made or lessons learned is that since I work full-time from home for myself, and when I first came into the crypto space and I was earning money in crypto, I was selling crypto as well to feed my lifestyle, to pay my bills, to support myself and my family, to buy a house, car, put my kid through school. Problem with that is I was spending my crypto. And when I fast forward today on how much money I spent in crypto, what its value would be? Well, not necessarily today, but when it was at $69,000 a coin, we're looking at close to anywhere between $7 to $8 million in value that I spent. I learned a lesson, and we'll talk more about that on Friday. The cryptocurrency began attracting interest from tech elites as well. In 2012, Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss purchased $10 million worth of Bitcoin. And in less than a year, their investment had more than tripled. It's been estimated the Winklevoss twins own 1% of all available Bitcoin. In 2011, the Silk Road launches, Bitcoin is the chief form of currency. Bitcoin is inherently traceless, a quality that made it the ideal currency for facilitating drug trade on the burgeoning internet black market. It was the equivalent of digital cash, a self-governing system of commerce that preserved the anonymity of its owner. With Bitcoin, anyone could take to the Silk Road and purchase cannabis seeds, LSD, and cocaine without revealing their identities. And the benefit wasn't entirely one-sided either. In some ways, the drug trafficking site legitimized Bitcoin as a means of commerce, even if it was only being used to facilitate illicit trade. In 2011, Satoshi Nakamoto disappears from the web. On April 23, 2011, Nakamoto sent Bitcoin core developer Mike Hearn a brief email. "I've moved on to other things," he said, referring to the Bitcoin project. "The future of Bitcoin," he wrote, "was in good hands." Why would he say it was in good hands? Well, the whole purpose of this is that it's not owned or controlled by a single person, bank, business entity, or CEO. It is open source. It belongs to the people. It doesn't matter what the creator does at this point. In his wake, Nakamoto left behind a vast collection of writings, a premise on the workings of Bitcoin, and the most influential cryptocurrency ever created. So who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Well, if you Google the name, the results will lead you straight to an image after image of an elderly Asian man. This is Dorian S. Nakamoto, named Satoshi Nakamoto at birth. He is more than 70 years old, lives in my backyard, LA, with his mother, and he has reminded people hundreds of times he is not the creator of Bitcoin. In 2014, a Newsweek reporter named Leah Goodman published a feature story pinning the identity of Bitcoin's creator on Nakamoto due to his high-profile work in engineering and pointed to the private personal life. Following the story's immediate release, Nakamoto was dogged by reporters who trailed him as he drove to a sushi restaurant. Nakamoto told a journalist from the AP that he had only heard of Bitcoin weeks earlier when Leah Goodman had contacted him about the Newsweek story. 2 weeks later, Dorian S. Nakamoto issued a statement to Newsweek stating he did not create, invent, or otherwise work on Bitcoin. Dorian Nakamoto's claim was corroborated by the actual Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto a day later, when he reemerged, Satoshi's username mysteriously surfacing in an online forum to post, "I am not Dorian Nakamoto." I just had another aha moment here. Those of you in the founding members group, when we were studying the Bitcoin white paper, and we counted how many times the word "we" was used, and here he used the word "I." It just, I wrote this course and I just had an aha moment. You're never too late to learn. Whether Satoshi Nakamoto was a man, woman, or group of people, we may never know. But we should thank him, for they have changed the world. What about Nick Szabo? Nick Szabo has been reportedly identified as Nakamoto. In the course of determining the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto, there's one person who has been thumbed again and again: hyper-secretive cryptocurrency expert Nick Szabo, who was not only fundamental to the development of Bitcoin, but also created his own cryptocurrency called BitGold in the late 90s. In 2014, a team of linguistic researchers studied Nakamoto's writings alongside those of 13 potential Bitcoin creators. The results, they said, were indisputable. The number of linguistic similarities between Szabo's writing and the Bitcoin white paper is uncanny. The researchers reported none of the other possible authors were anywhere near as good of a match. A story in the New York Times pegged Szabo as Bitcoin's creator as well. Szabo, a staunch libertarian who has spoken publicly about the history of Bitcoin and blockchain technology, has been involved in cryptocurrency since its earliest beginnings. Szabo has firmly denied these claims, both in the New York Times story and in a tweet. Not Satoshi, but thank you. The Craig Wright controversy. If you listen to me in my crypto talks, I say there's two things that makes me nervous about crypto. Tether is one of them, and this individual is the other. He's a billionaire, Craig Wright, He's a genius or he's a lunatic. I mean, the line between love and hate or genius and crazy is very thin. But because of his vast wealth, and he has been here since the beginning, like a Elon Musk, he has the potential and the ability to manipulate this space. So who's Craig Wright? In 2016, Australian entrepreneur Craig Wright claimed to be the creator of Bitcoin and provided disputed code as proof. Bitcoin developer Gavin Anderson further corroborated Wright's gesture, saying he was 98% certain that Wright was the pseudonymous Satoshi Nakamoto. But others were quick to disagree, and Wright's claim drew fierce skepticism from the cryptocurrency community, as well as online as well as alleged interest from the FBI. Amid the sudden influx of scrutiny, Wright deleted his post and issued a cryptic apology. "I'm sorry," he wrote. "I believe that I could put the years of anonymity and hiding behind me. But as the events of this week unfolded and I prepared to publish the proof of access to the earliest keys I broke, I do not have the courage." In 2020, the family of David Kleiman, who passed away in 2013, claimed that David Kleiman and Wright were close friends and co-created Bitcoin through a partnership. Craig Wright claimed to not only be Satoshi Nakamoto, but that he controls all of the Bitcoin between himself and David. At the center of the trial were 1.1 million Bitcoins, worth approximately $50 billion based on the current prices. These were among the first Bitcoins to be created through mining and could only be owned by a person or entity involved with the digital currency from its beginning, such as Bitcoin's creator, Satoshi Nakamoto. A Florida jury found that Wright did not owe half of 1.1 million Bitcoins to the family of David Kleiman. The jury did award $100 million in intellectual property rights to a joint venture between the two men, a fraction of what Kleiman's lawyers were asking for at trial. Now, here's how the real Nakamoto can prove his identity. A PGP key is a unique encryption program associated with a given user's name, similar to an online signature. Nakamoto could attach his to a post or a message indicating his identity. He could move his Bitcoin. Nakamoto has amassed a fortune in Bitcoin. He's thought to possess over 1 million coins, which today would be valued in excess of tens of billions of dollars. Theoretically, Nakamoto could move those coins to a different address. Now, why would Nakamoto choose to remain anonymous? As it turns out, experimenting in new forms of currency is not without its consequences. In 1998, Hawaiian resident Bernard von Nothaus dabbled in a fledgling form of currency called Liberty Dollars to disastrous results. He was 10 years too soon. He was charged with violating federal law and sentenced to 6 months of house arrest, along with a 3-year probation. In 2007, one of the first digital currencies, e-gold, was shut down amid contentious circumstances by the government on grounds of money laundering. If the inventor of Bitcoin wants to remain anonymous, it's for good reason. By maintaining anonymity, they've avoided adverse legal consequences, making their anonymity at least partially responsible for the currency's success. Besides, one of the founding principles of Bitcoin is that it's a decentralized currency, untethered to conspicuous institutions or individuals. And in his original proposition on Bitcoin, Nakamoto wrote, "What is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party." But why go through all the trouble and not stick around for the credit? Much of the mystery surrounding Nakamoto involves his motivations. Why would someone go through the trouble of creating a detailed and brilliant decentralized currency only to later completely disappear from public view? A closer look at one of Nakamoto's original postings on the proposal of Bitcoin sheds some light on his possible motivations. In February of 2009, Nakamoto wrote, "The root problem with conventional currency is all the trust that's required to make it work. The central bank must be trusted, not to debase the currency. But the history of fiat currencies is full of breaches of that trust. Banks," well, we have more people joining us, "banks must be trusted to hold our money and transfer it electronically, but they lend it out in waves of credit bubbles with barely a fraction in reserves. If everybody ran to the bank right now and tried to pull all their money out, there's not enough physical cash to cover everybody's money in the bank accounts. Yet the government wants to scream and cry about stable coins right now, as if that's not going to happen in real life with fiat money." Trust. When the 2008 financial collapse happened, what did President Bush say? First thing out of his mouth was trust in his speech. "We must maintain trust. The government will save you." However, who did they bail out? Businesses that were too big to fail. How many of you are still waiting to get bailed out? And they use our taxpayer money to do so. Trust is eroding in the system today. Because for this system to work, we have to trust them with our privacy. Trust them not to let identity thieves drain our accounts. In Bitcoin forums, it's been speculated that Nakamoto might be a libertarian and hates to corrupt rich people and politicians. Other Bitcoin enthusiasts suggest the timing of Bitcoin's emergence is a clear indication of its raison d'être, meaning reason for being. Because with Bitcoin, there is no need for trust. Bitcoin is proof of work. Bitcoin cannot be just created out of thin air, which you'll learn about later on in the week. In fact, tomorrow, when we talk about what is the blockchain, it is proof of work. It has to be created. It's built on math. 2 plus 2 will always equal 4, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat saying so. It is a fact, like gravity. It is always going to be. Math is math. The currency, which was created in the years following the housing bubble burst in 2007, might have been invented as means of disrupting the corrupted banking system. When banks collapse, people get hurt, economies fall, and we the people are left to suffer the consequences with no support system. We never get a bailout. Owning Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies can actually protect you from your own country's economy. Who do you trust most, yourself or someone else? But here's what we know about Nakamoto, Satoshi Nakamoto for sure. They're a genius. In a New York article from 2011, a top internet security researcher describes Bitcoin code as an inscrutable execution that nears perfection. Only the most paranoid, painstaking coder in the world could avoid making mistakes. They speak fluent English. Nakamoto has written extensively about Bitcoin, authoring close to 80,000 words on the subject in the course of 2 years. His work reads like that of a native English speaker. They might be British. Judging by their spelling and their use of British colloquialisms, they refer to their apartments as a flat and call the subject maths. It's thought they might hail from the UK. The timing of his post seemed to indicate this fact as well. It's been pointed out that Nakamoto posted during UK daylight hours. They might be more than one person. The foolproof brilliance of Bitcoin's code have left many wondering if it isn't the work of a team of developers. Bitcoin security researcher Dan Kaminsky says Nakamoto could be either a team of people or a genius. As a disclaimer, this information is intended for educational and training purposes only, should not be construed as investment advice. As with all financial decisions, you should contact your licensed financial advisor before investing in any financial instrument. Me personally, who do I believe that Satoshi Nakamoto is? I really don't care, and I don't want to know. Have you ever heard or felt you should never meet your heroes or your idols? Because they're human. And human by nature is flawed. Everybody has their own issues and problems. And if we find out who Satoshi Nakamoto is, it doesn't become about the project anymore. It becomes about the person or group or entity. People want to know, are they old or young? Are they a man or a woman? Because now our prejudices begin to take over. Are they a Democrat or a Republican? Are they conservative or a liberal? Are they American or are they UK? Are they a socialist or a communist or a capitalist? So all of the BS, nonsense about that individual then takes over. I hope we never find out who Satoshi Nakamoto is, and we don't need to, because the entire concept of this is based on math. It is open source, and it is available to everybody. It cannot be hacked, changed, or manipulated to an extent. It is more than trust. It is proof of work, and it is putting it into all of our hands. And tonight was just day one of the 5-day challenge. Tomorrow, we're going to be covering what is blockchain. See, you will be surprised how many people own Bitcoin and crypto right now and don't even know what the blockchain is, or the scientific legal term, distributed ledger technology, because that is Web 3. That is going to blow the internet out of the water. That is one of the greatest inventions of mankind since the printing press. It's going to revolutionize the entire world, blockchain technology. And we're going to cover that tomorrow. Then we'll go into what is cryptocurrency and Bitcoin on Wednesday. Now, I would at this point be looking at everybody that's on the Facebook group and say, we have come to the end of our night one. Keep this short and sweet, just 1 hour. And I will stop the stream. But all the people you see on the screen right now, wave everybody. These are our VIPs. These are the ones that paid $97 one time to get backstage pass, because when I stopped the live stream, they stayed with us on Zoom, and we now go into Q&A. The one thing most people in crypto are missing, they don't know who they can ask questions with and who would take the time to answer them, and even if you're getting the right information from the right person. Because in this space, you definitely need to watch who you're listening to. Someone might say, well, Brandon, why should I listen to you? The answer is you shouldn't. You should listen to yourself based on the education, because the information I'm sharing is not my information. It's information that I've learned, that I've regurgitated in my own way and my own style. But your knowledge and education will help you to sift out what will fit your strategy. Everybody's strategy is different. What's good for me may not be good for you. The way I invest, the way I build my portfolio may not be attainable for somebody else. So if you attempt to duplicate me exactly, you might end up hurting yourself. I'm able to take risks that other people may not be able to take. So your education is who you trust the most, yourself. So you got to be educated. But it's always good to listen to those that are in the space, because you can learn from their mistakes as well. And we cover that and we talk about that. So since this is a special night, I'm not going to turn off the stream for the first time. I'm going to leave it on. And I'll let you guys watch what the VIPs experience. So with that, we are officially done with day one challenge. Now we're going into Q&A session with the VIPs. You see all the VIPs, they've got their shirts on. If you have your shirts on, try to put it up on the screen so everybody can see you. If you're on the free side, you can become a VIP as well. Get back to the person who invited you. They will show you how to do that so you can be on the VIP tomorrow night. So if you have any VIPs, have any questions, comments, or anything you'd like to share, please raise your hand. You know how we do it. I'm going to call on you to ask your question. And remember, there are no stupid questions. We all had a day one. We all began somewhere to begin our journey to get to where we are right now. So there's nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing to be afraid of or scared of. So with that, anybody have any questions, comments, or they'd like to share, go ahead and let me know. All right, I see Mr. Dave Tayo first up. Go ahead and unmute yourself, sir.
Hi, good evening, Brandon. Thanks very much. So One question I have is, what is something we can look forward to in the way the market is moving to and from the crypto space?
Be a little bit more specific. What do you mean? What we can look forward to?
How it's
The volatility.
The volatility and whatnot, like what the dips and the highs and lows. What can we learn from that? How can it benefit us?
Great question. And Mr. Nelson brought this up earlier when he talked about the most simplistic thing is you always buy low and you sell high. So when you see the market volatility happening and you see everybody talking about there's a crash taking place, that's when you buy. You do the opposite of what the media is saying, the opposite of what the masses are doing. If they're panic selling, believe me, the wealthy are now buying. Now, if you look at the entire history of Bitcoin, where it went from zero to $69,000 a coin, when you pull that microscope back, you only see this upward trend. Every year's low has always been higher than the previous year's high. So it does this on the way up. It's like a fish angling itself, but still going up to the top over time. So where's the market going in the future? Well, that depends on who you ask. In my opinion, in my suggestion, we have not had the rocket ship take off yet. It is still on the launching pad being fueled, but the rubber band is being pulled down right now. All the shaky hands are being shaken. The retail investors are selling because they don't understand. They're not educated. The wealthy are buying it up, the institutions. And then when that thing snaps, it's going to snap up big. We also have the Bitcoin halving coming up in 2024. So we may be in what some might call a bear winter for, what do we see that in crypto talk this morning? 12 to 18 months before we see a major turnaround again. So this is accumulation phase. So when on Friday, I will talk about dollar cost averaging, about building your strategy and what you can do right now to benefit from this, regardless of how much money you have to work with, just by accumulating on a consistent basis. Mr. Nelson, I know you're going to be leaving soon. Is there anything you'd like to add to that question? Because you covered that.
I'm on the same page as you. I mean, it's really, again, it's developing a mentality, right? Everybody knows I'm a big, for those that know me, as you do, Dave, I'm a basketball fan. So the reason why I'm loving the Warriors is because you can be down 30 points. And actually, my girl's up here. She knows I said it at the third quarter. I said, that's 6 shots. For the Warriors, that's 6 shots. You know, and because they're battle tested from a professional perspective, and that's what every one of you on here should be striving to become, is a professional. In a professional, you don't get excited when you make a whole lot of money, and you don't get low when you lose a whole lot of money. You want to learn a trajectory to understand there is no graph in life, and I parallel life to the stock market as a graph that just goes straight up your whole life, or goes straight down your whole life. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up. Fortunately, if you learn the systems, then you'll stay on a path that as it's going in its up and down trajectory, because we have seen nothing but it go up in the stock market, in commodities, in crypto, in anything, that if you learn how to be able to just compound and save and protect, that's what these strategies will give you, is in the downtime, how to protect the money that you've earned and how to leverage and save and not put it all in one pot. Again, we also know that conversation of walking up the street with one basket and all your eggs in it, you trip, you've lost everything. So it's a matter of leveraging it and understanding the difference between, just like, you know, many of you guys are involved with some of these different bots. And I was getting phone calls when people get excited about something. You've been around the block for so many times, as I have had Brandon and many of my constituents on this call. You know, I guess it was called COTPS or whatever, one of those bots are out there. And it went under today. I wasn't involved with it because I don't believe in things that have not been battle tested. Tron went under. BNB went under. This is the Wild Wild West. There's a lot of different programs, and greed presents itself real fast where there is a lot of abundance. So if you are not smart to hold back and be able to gauge your, what I call, emotional threshold, of what you can handle. That's what you're learning how to do, whether you're trading, whether you're investing, whether you're learning how to leverage. It's your greatest challenge in this game. Please hear me and hear me loud. It's going to be managing your emotional control in good and bad times of everything in life. And if you can learn how to do that, as you're talking about the ups, ebbs, and that's just part of life. Somebody's going to live, somebody's going to die, somebody's going to give birth, somebody's going to get pregnant. It's part of life. But how you manage it allows you to truly celebrate every win. And a win is when there's no loss. A win is not just when you make $1 billion, $1 million, or you just came up, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15. Does everybody follow me on that? Now, you guys are following this conversation. A win, because I'm a poker player, and people, those who know me, I have a suite in Vegas with my name on it and help build a couple of hotels. So I'm not encouraging, but I'm a professional. At the same time, I know how to manage my emotions and manage my money to know when I take a loss and when not to go, when not to play, when I'm not in line with the universe, and when to be able to just go full ahead. You see what I'm saying? That's not predicated on the market. The market is going to do what the market is going to do. People are going to get rich in a bull market, and let me tell you a real big secret. More people are going to get rich in a bear market. I'm going to say that again. Everybody else is scared. This is the time from crypto, from a real estate and a stock perspective, where the wealthy are the most excited on the planet, figuring out how to get more to put in when you pull out. How do you operate when it goes from 47 to 43? Oh my God, it just dropped 4,000 to going to 40. I have people that were telling me, it's like, man, I should have gotten in at 12. 1 year from now, you're going to say, I wish I had gotten in at 30. 6 months from now, you're going to say, I wish I got in at 30. A year from now, you're going to be happy if you got in at 50. Just on Bitcoin alone. That's all I can tell you. It's just, if you can just really feed yourself, your greatest investment. And I mean, those who know, I studied directly under Jim Rome from 2006 to 2009 when he passed at his foot in Arizona. And the greatest investment you will ever make in life is in yourself. Everything else is what we're sharing here is 10, 15%. The game is only 10 to 15%. The game is really easy. It's mastering self-mastery is the greatest challenge of a person listening to all the noise, all the white noise, all the opinions, watching the news. Turn it all off and truly invest in understanding the strategies, in understanding how to manage yourself. Some people, every person here has a different mentality. So you got to figure out what's going to work for you to maximize profits. I'm going to say that again. You're going to have to learn what works for you to learn how to maximize profits. Because what Brandon just said what maximizes profits for him is not going to maximize profits for everybody. But here's what I do know. 4 times 4 will always be 16. Whether you're white, black, Puerto Rican, Asian, or any persuasion, 4 times 4 is always going to be 16. So what do I mean by that? The system works the same for everybody. How you either respond or react is what makes you wealthy or broke. You don't have to figure out the system. The system's already in play. We're giving you the information. The next 5 days, you get everything you need to know about the system. But whether you get, oh my God, Jesus, I just dropped 10 grand. It's only 3. It's gonna be all you. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. All right, next up, Victoria. Go ahead and unmute yourself. I know, Victoria, you're on the tablets, so you should have a button that allows you to unmute yourself.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go right ahead.
Wow. You guys are awesome. I mean, really. That Mr. Nelson, where did you get him from? Right. Good grief. Where's the brother been? I've been out here in the political arena for about 30 or 40 years. I ain't never heard about you guys. Where y'all been? Are y'all involved with any political parties? Because serious about this. You guys mentioned your age. I'm 60 years old. I'm considered a baby boomer. I got interested in cryptocurrency a few months ago. I'm new with. I really am. I'm really new with this. My background is political science and politics. What I have become more interested in is that there seems to be quite a few different kinds of tokens out there, different kinds of crypto. I would sort of like to do this as a business. So what advice? Because you guys are talking, hold on to it, a few years. Now I hope to live until I'm 125 years old, but we never know. But I am closer to 100. I'm getting close to 100. I'm in my right mind. What suggestions do you have for baby boomers who basically are getting ready to retire? We may have a little goal. We've done some things, but not this, because this is really, really new for our generation to try to even learn it.
Can I, Brandon?
Go right ahead.
So, just so that you understand, I am a baby boomer. I know that I have a baby face. I claim to be the Black Benjamin Buttons, and I will get younger because when you have
you don't look like a baby boomer. You look real young.
That is the goal. That has been my whole life's mission, is to make sure with enough wealth and accumulation, I control my time, emotions, and take care of my body and everything else to my smile. But thank you. But here's what I would share with you. I would share with you, whether you're a baby boomer or whether you're a child of X or Y, that really is not perfect. What you really need to establish, like you said, I'm going to use your words because I am a coach on a whole nother level. So, and I hear what you don't say. What you just said was, I would like to invest. I would like to make this a business. I need you to be very clear about this in your head. Is it something that is a novice and a hobby that you want to get involved in? Or is it something that just burns with a burning passion within your soul? There's a distinction there. Because if it's a passion, then trading should be your lane. You should really learn how to trade within this lane. It's not my passion to learn how to trade. It is my passion to understand this economic new landscape that we're moving into, just like we did from VCRs, cassettes, into now the Sony that had the VHS and the TV, if you remember, and you went into the Triniton, and you went from black and white to color, and now you're into. It is my commitment to understand the distinction that why I like Samsung and other people are sold out on iPhone, why I use it for me. So I utilize this platform of crypto because I have a passion for learning. I have a passion for currency. I have a passion for learning how to create abundance. Therefore, it keeps me in the lane of consistent learning about everything within this space. But I have no interest in becoming a trader. I am an investor. I'm an avid investor. And I love investing, which means I don't like to rely on somebody else for my knowledge base and foundation. So you have to make the distinction of, do I want to trade or do I want to invest? Those are two totally different lanes, which have nothing to do with whether you're 80 or 8. Blind, crippling, crazy.
Well, I guess in a way I would like to do both, because for me to trade, purchasing and helping persons to get involved, this is what I also wanted to do. I graduated from North Carolina Central University here in Durham, North Carolina. So I'm in walking distance from that university. And there's just so many young persons. And matter of fact, I find it very interesting when I talk to them, a lot of them know, at least they have heard about cryptocurrency. But when you really, really try to talk to them, they really don't have a good, real good information about it. They know about basketball, football. They've been hearing about it. So part of me, I'm interested in educating young folks about this, but I've got to learn it myself also. And yes, and so my question is also, since there are so many different cryptos out here, how in the future, in the next 2 or 3 years, how do I learn which is a good token for people to invest and which is not a good token?
These are quick answers, Victoria. Number one, the next 5 days, it give you everything that you need. Just take plug in. That's number one. Next 5 days, it give you everything that you need to understand as far as tokens, as far as, USD, everything that you want to know about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, anything that's a token, anything that was man-created, anything that people are doing just to drive money for their own company and their own brand that probably won't last past 2 years. And all that will be taught to you within the next 5 days. Again, you said, I would like to do both. So here's what I want you to write down. And then you can have a sidebar conversation and set it up with Marnita in regards to, my partner, Mr. Ivy, or my number is in there by way of my executive assistant. But I'm going to leave you with this. I live and die on this statement. There you go. And that is, documentation beats conversation. So why talk to anybody about something until you know what you're talking about? Take the time, as you did in poli-sci and in politics. And just so you know, I am affiliated with, my godmother's name is Maxine Waters, so I do know a little bit about politics. But what I will tell you is document yourself. Take the next 3, 4, 5 months to truly educate yourself. Just like you're getting back. The beautiful thing about this is 6 months of learning in this is 4 years in getting a bachelor's degree. And before you talk to somebody about it, take the time to know what you're talking about and just become a student of this game while you're investing, while you're leveraging, while you're learning.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. That's
awesome.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Definitely.
And thank you, Brian.
Well,
Thank you, Ms. Ivory. Thank you.
No problem, Victoria. And also on day 5, we're going to talk about that in more detail, about laying the path to becoming a crypto billionaire. In other words, setting your short-term and long-term goals, regardless of who you are and your age, that will work best for you. Because I heard something there. You were like, look, I'm a baby boomer. I'm of sound mind and body, but I want to make enough money that I can enjoy it and not have to hold it for 20 years for it to appreciate it.
That's right. And you also know that I have a new son who's just 5 months old. So my husband and I, we really are trying to make sure we have some things laid out that he will be taking care of.
Right. It was adoption, Byron.
I was going to say, you really are a special child, Victoria. I'm like, God, bro, 55, you still kicking them out. I'm like, I can drink your water. I'm good.
Yeah, but that's the key, Victoria. On Friday, we're going to talk about that in detail and even hold that question again and bring it back up on Friday. And I'm going to give you some tips.
Okay, great. Thank you, fellas. Thank you, both of you. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
No problem. All right, up, Mr. Pendleton. Go right ahead.
Hello, everybody. So, Brandon, I'm, of course, tethering Bitcoin right now, and it's looking like it's at about 29,000. So I just want your opinion. I know you're probably doing the same thing. Where do you see the bottom? When do you think that you might buy back in?
Well, good question, because I tethered at 42,000 first, because I had an idea that this was going to drop all the way down. I say anything below $30,000 is good buy-in right now. For those that are watching the charts and waiting for it to go down, be very careful with that, because while you're waiting to do that, something can happen in the news. Elon Musk could do a tweet in the middle of the night, and you wake up the next morning and Bitcoin is up $15,000 more. But what other experts are saying, that this can go as low as $17,000 before we hit the next bottom. More realistically, probably between 20 to 22,000 that it can still go. So as you've seen it the last week, hovering at that 29,000 to 31,000, it is not bouncing back. And hold on, I need to mute Victoria there. There we go. If it cannot get past 31,000 and sustain, it's going back. It's going to go down to 25,000 and then hit the next bottom. And those of you that are in the founders group, we already covered in the how to trade Bitcoin and crypto. You go to the exchanges. Remember how I told you to look at the order books? and you look at where the buying wall is and the selling wall is and where it is the thickest. So you can tell if it starts to drop, where it's going to drop the next bottom. So I will say that's up to you on whether or not you want to go ahead and tether. To be conservative, tether 50% of it, and then just hold the other 50%. So that way you don't lose either way. Remember we talked about that?
I already tethered 100%.
All right, now you got.
I was looking for like 28,000 and then getting back in. So, but now you got me a little nervous. I think I might go back in now.
No, you gotta, but you just gotta watch. You just gotta watch it because you've been on our crypto talks and you see what those billionaires are talking about. They're preparing for it to go to $20,000 to $22,000. Robert Kiyosaki says 17,000. But I think he's been a little extravagant. But anything below 30,000 is a good buy. And if you're doing the DCA, dollar cost averaging, it doesn't matter what the price is right now. This is like Mr. Nelson said, in 2 years we'll all wish we got in at 50,000 or below.
Thank you.
No problem. Good question. Mr. Charles, go right ahead.
Good night, Brandon. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Wonderful. So I must say, I heard Mr. Nelson and yourself, Michael, kind of similar answer to the question I was going to ask, but I decided to ask anyways because I could get a different response. So the question is, I day trade, and I finally got myself into Bitcoin. And what I've realized is it's been tested in that area about 3 to 4 times over the past couple of years. And the question I was going to ask is, what exactly would be a trigger for you to say, hey, okay, this is the area to buy? I know, like you just explained it, but what would be the number one thing that you would look for? Because earlier when you spoke about Mr. Craig White, I was kind of figuring if he was an influencer that could affect Bitcoin or where it's going. So I just wanted to get your perspective as to what would be the number one trigger for you.
You want to go first, Mr. Nelson?
I'll let you handle that one. This is I look for a unicorn, and I follow the market. The stock market. I mean, crypto is going to follow the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very simple parallel journey of just watching where it's kind of like looking for a crook. Just follow the money. Go right ahead.
Yeah. I would say one right now, as I told Mr. Pendleton, anything below 30,000 is you got to get in the game. If you guys have followed, those of you that are part of the inner circle, where I actually open up some of my wallets and we actually buy live. I always watch the news and see what might be mentioned, whether it's positive or negative on a project, and I always dollar cost average it. I say, okay, if I don't own this, let me at least get in the game, and I'll put a couple $100 down. This past week, last couple of days, I spent more than $3,000 in the market because I wanted to buy the dip, even though a lot of my holdings went down. But I know that going back up it's gonna explode. So one, you can look at the market, the stock market. Historically, when the stock market dropped, crypto dropped with it. But crypto always seems to stabilize and rebound before the stock market does. That's one trigger. You also want to look at what other whales are doing. If you all of a sudden see a whole lot of money is leaving Tether or the stable coins, that is because they're putting it back into the market. They're moving it back into Bitcoin, Ethereum, because they're solidifying their positions because they think the market's going to go back up. And when whales start to move, the bots follow the money. They follow what the big boys are doing, and then everybody else follows the bots. And then you see a trend happening. But right now, I would not play the let me try to time it exactly game because it's so volatile. This is the perfect time to get in. Here's another thing I look for. If you guys are watching my crypto talks again, whenever we research a coin, I always look at what was the all-time high and what percentage are we away from the all-time high. Anything more than 50 to 60% away from the all-time high of that coin, it automatically triggers in my mind buying opportunity. If it's only 20% or 15% or 10% from its all-time high, I hold and I wait because I'm buying at the high. I'm going to buy it when it's low. So I'm always looking at that percentage. If it's 80 or 90%, like what we took notes on, we bought some AV the other day. Gala, I got Gala at 7 cents. Gala got to 82 cents. And we've got people on here who retire, like Mr. Lofty's, because of Gala. But it dropped. So I missed the boat the first time. I'm not going to miss the boat the second time. And it's like 80% from its all-time high. Great buying opportunity, because I know that when the market recorrects itself, then like all ships rise with the rising tide. When Bitcoin goes up, all coins go up with it. So by default, these coins are going to go back up and I make a profit. Does that make sense?
Wonderful, wonderful. I love it.
Perfect.
I would say cross-pollination. If I could throw in one thing, here's your cross-pollination. Again, it goes back to what I was sharing at the beginning, and that is your emotional management. If you hypothetically bought right now at 29,000 and it dropped down to 26, you're like, oh my God, it just dropped again. You shouldn't be playing the game. You have to find your threshold. So, for example, if you look strategically with the strategies that will be shared over this week, and Pelvis talked about it, and Brandon has talked about it. I see it in the chat. I would strategically say that the high is 23 and the low is 17. But if you're worried about it being at 23 and it dropping down to 17 and you don't have the patience to wait for it to go back up, you shouldn't be playing the game in the first place. But you're high, if you're a risk player like I am, then you can wait till 18, 17. If you're scared of missing that and it's going to bounce because it only went to 22 and you've been waiting and now it's back up at 30, then, find out where your threshold is that works between, in this moment right now, I'm not a financial advisor, 17 and 23 to Tucker.
I agree. I would say the chances of it dropping more rather than going up is greater, that it's going to drop more than pop back up. But you got to make that decision yourself. Like I said, I tethered at 42,000 and I haven't come back in the market yet. And so I'm just waiting and watching it. So when it comes back down around that 20 to 25 range, that's when I'm probably going to re-enter it. But I am still dollar cost average. You guys just saw me buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin this week, at the current price. So I've got my tether here, but that's new money that wasn't in the market that I add every month. All right, great question. Next is Miss Casa Marnita. Oh, first and foremost, I want to say congratulations to Marnita, my cousin. Her daughter Jasmine graduated from high school today, and so I want to make sure you let her know I gave her another shout out in front of everybody that she graduated from high school. She did an internship at for what is that, like marine biologist type stuff. She's got a very, very bright future ahead of her. So congratulations. So Marnita, go right ahead.
First of all, thank you. Sorry, my husband's watching Dr. Who on Max Value. Okay, so you always say no dumb questions. All right. So the people that I talk to about the crypto education, a lot of them have absolutely no idea what's going on. All right. So the question that I get asked a lot, can you just please tell me a way to explain it to me? First party. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. She's beautiful. I'm so proud of her. She's did an internship. She's going to be a marine biologist. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, sorry. So the question is, first, what is a Ponzi scheme? Like, how do I explain to them exactly what a Ponzi scheme is, and what makes Bitcoin not a Ponzi scheme? Does that make sense?
What makes it not a Ponzi? You want to go with that one, Ms. Milson?
Yeah, a Ponzi scheme looks like a job. So anybody that fills out an application and works for somebody else and gets paid an allocated fee and gets pimped for about 20 to 30 years, and they get all these things called insurance and perks and benefits. And if you do this, you get 50, 60,000 a year plus possible, profits, is a Ponzi scheme until they use you up and you can't work anymore and you can't get welfare and you can't get government support. That's a Ponzi scheme. That's the only Ponzi scheme I actually know of that's actually real.
Mr. Nelson, that was right on point. I should have known something like that was going to come from you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to use that. Keep going. I love it.
Again, I will entertain ignorant conversations, meaning a person doesn't know, an educated conversation, or a curious conversation.
Okay.
I don't entertain stupid conversations. Like if a person is completely, this is, I mean, I'm sure you're clear about this, Marnie, and everybody may not. It's a word that's the most important to me, that is the most endeared to me, called discernment. You have to discern, am I talking to somebody who really wants to learn and wants to get educated, or someone who is just really just on the other side of the wall that pouring water on a rock, a plant will never grow?
Yes, sir.
So if you're talking to somebody who wants to learn and they want to know, and that's just what's spewed out their mouth based on ignorance, but they want to know, then I will entertain the conversation for about 2 minutes to see if they're open enough to learn what I have to share. But your time is the most valuable on the planet. You don't have time to be pouring water on rocks. You just don't. I have to depart. I left the information in there for Wendy. Mr. Ivy, I love you. This community I love. I will be back on tomorrow. I encourage each and every one of you to participate wholeheartedly into this, and to just really have a pen and paper and really take really copious notes. Copious notes. I mean, act like somebody is giving you the numbers to a lottery ticket and you're guaranteed to win if you follow the number. Because it's like, you don't want to use your memory, and somebody gives you 30 numbers and says you're guaranteed to win the lottery. You're like, go ahead, give it to me. Get you a pen, check it twice, and take really good notes so you have intelligent conversation. We don't mind asking questions like that. You know, that Brandon said, there's no stupid questions, but we don't do it random. So I love you guys. God bless. You guys have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. That is a good question, Ms. Casa, that people have a fear of. Is this a Ponzi thing? Anything that they don't know or don't understand, they automatically think Ponzi, and they think the word Ponzi means scam. We're lucky enough to I have a CMO who actually has worked with the FTC. And I want to bring him up real quick to give what the FTC would consider the definition of a Ponzi. So, Mr. James Hendricks, are you there?
Yes, I am, and thank you very much. And yes, for 10 years, I was an independent contractor with the FTC, closing down many direct selling opportunities. I say that very loosely. And a Ponzi scheme, if it's illegal, because technically all of them are called Ponzi's. They become the Ponzi scheme in the illegal side when the money is being made solely on the recruiting effort. Meaning, let me think about one of the coins that have gone under. I guess the COTPS, or whatever that abbreviation is. It went under. It was an opportunity for people to join. But primarily, the majority of all the money was really coming from nothing more than commissions were being made, nothing more than people in joining and paying an entry fee. So if a network marketing company pays, or direct selling, pays money just for the sole part of joining, and there's no transaction of a product or a service, then that right there becomes illegal. If the product or service is being sold, you can get paid a commission on that, but not on the membership side alone. Perfect example, in 99.9% of network marketing direct selling companies, they all have a business fee, a starter fee. It's usually $29 to $79, and then you would attach a product pack. But legally, you can join without the product pack. If there's any commissions made on that right there, strike one. That is right there the biggest red flag of all. It's moving itself right into the illegal side. And product companies nowadays are kind of smart, and they try to steer away from that. In this space right now, and I've gotten to talk to a couple of friends very recently in Washington, D.C., is that a lot of these crypto direct selling opportunities are going to quickly fall under the guise, because there is no real product or service that they're selling other than their coin. Now, their coin, yes, is a product. Absolutely, sure is a product. But the FTC's ruling on a product is it actually has to have legitimate retailable value. So if I were to look at, this product right here, you guys can't see it. You can't see the name. I'm not going to show it to anybody. But if I were to go to Walmart and try to get this product, there is a value on this product. This product would cost me about $49. It's okay if a network marketing company upsells it to $89 or $99 to pay the commission fee. They can do that. But there is an actual retailable value. The companies that I know are going to be under the hot seat here very, very soon are going to be those MLM companies that create their own coin, and then that's their own product. Those are going to be the companies that are going to have some potential challenges. So I would be very, very careful when you're looking at a direct selling company in this space. Don't look at the opportunity. Look at the coin. You can learn a lot about the coin side, not the opportunity side. You can learn about the coin. Brandon has something throughout the week that he can talk later about, but he will talk about coins only. He will not talk about the opportunity side. And that's something very, very important, is to understand solely the coin, not how well they pitch the market. You heard him say that I'm the CMO. I'm the chief of marketing, which means it's a marketer's job to make people get really comfortable, really, really warm and fuzzy about pulling out their credit card or their debit card or their crypto wallet and investing or spending money. That's a marketer's job, is to do that. So I would step away from the opportunity. Don't look at that. Go look at only about the coin. If you didn't read the white paper before you invested, shame on you. Every legitimate coin is at least going to have a white paper. Now, illegitimate ones will as well. But if you're not reading that, and then you're not doing some other due diligence, well, we can no longer say unintended ignorance. Now we have to say intended ignorance, that you're intentionally not looking at the logical side and you're moving only with the emotional side. So I hope that kind of makes sense. But for me, I'm watching company after company after company in the MLM crypto space continually fall. So that's me watching from a different point of view. And, that's that. Brandon, if I can respond to Mitchell Charles, he was asking a question earlier about what do we pay attention to with dips and stuff, because he's in day trading. I've been day trading quite a bit. And back on, I want to give you an example of what I do watching the market. On May 11th, there was a press release that came out of Florida with Rick Scott. It said, Rick Scott to the FDA commissioner, baby formula shortage demands immediate action. Immediately, I bought baby food stock. Immediately. I said, oh, we're talking about it? I bought baby food stock. I'm looking right here at 47 cents a share. It is right now sitting at $1.09 a share. Now, the military has just sent in a whole ton of baby formula from overseas. At 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'm selling everything that I got in baby formula, because that's going to miraculously fix the baby food shortage, and then the stocks are going to go right back down to where they were. So where I get all information is in the news and in Washington, D.C. If they say something, get ready, because those people they can legally inside trade. And it's okay if you follow what they're doing, because then it's not insider trading for you. So just follow what your Democrat and Republican senators are doing, because they're telling us what they're going to invest in. I mean, they're telling you right there. So pay attention to the politics side of it, and you'll make a lot of money for yourself on the other side of it. Thanks, Brandon.
No problem, James. And now you guys see what we do in Crypto Talk in the Inner Circle. Every day, we're reading the news. That's how we find great picks. Now, Pat Amy had her hand up. I don't see her anymore. So next we're going to go to Marisol. Go right ahead.
Hey, Brandon, everybody. So my question was, I actually had a conversation with a friend of mine, and she sees I'm more involved in crypto now. She's been watching my Facebook and stuff, and it led to the conversation of the war, the Ukrainian war. And I told her, from my understanding, listening to this guy that does crypto talks, I told her, it's very much correlated to what's going on in the crypto world and the digital currency. But how would you word that? How would you sort of like if you had to just give somebody a sentence? Because she was like, really? I'm like, yeah. Like she had no idea.
Well, here's how I answer that. People want to know what's going on in the crypto space. And you hear other experts out there that always want to teach you just reading the charts and the cup and handle and the 90-day moving average, the 200-day moving average, and what the past has done. And that is a good skill to know. But what the charts cannot tell you is what's going on in the world with geopolitics, with people. You know, people are strange creatures and we do strange things. And things that we do will impact the market. So the war in Ukraine, how can the Russia-Ukraine war impact the markets? Well, one, the United States slapped big sanctions on Russia. So all Russia business is coming to a halt. The oligarchs are being slammed as well. I just saw in the news today, one oligarch has a $300 million yacht that's gone missing, or they call it gone dark, where he's trying to hide it around the world. So we have assets that are being frozen. We have Russian economy that's being shut down. That's going to have a cascade event because Europe gets primarily all of their power from Russia. Is that going to be impacted? Then we have Ukraine. They call that the breadbasket of the world. So we have all the food and the grain out of Ukraine that's not able to get to the other parts of the world. How is that going to impact other economies? And those economies are tied to the world economy, the stock market, the forex market, all of that. The world is much smaller today. So what happens somewhere else where people can't even find on a map is going to impact our prices here at home, which means there's opportunity there on things that we can't control. So when you hear in the news, like what James is talking about, like the baby food formula, where there was 2 ships, airplanes, when I saw it first thing when I woke up in the morning, the first shipment, and then another one that's going to be coming tomorrow from Europe that's going to feed something like 25,000 babies that are allergic to cow milk. So it's going to flood that market. James made money from doing that. We can't control what happens, but we certainly can react. So it is good for us to know geopolitics, which is another reason why when I do my crypto talks, I cover not just the charts, but I cover the news. What's going on around the world, not through politics, whether for one thing or another, just what's happening and how can we take what's happening and move it into our benefit on a micro level. Does that make sense, Marisol?
It does.
I think you said, can you do that in one sentence or so? That's a little bit more than one sentence.
Yeah.
But.
That's what I was going for. I'm like, I can't do that.
Just put it, geopolitics impacts the market. That's why we need to pay attention. All right, Pat, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. Uh-oh. That sounds terrible.
It's like you have 2 things open at the same time.
Is that better?
Yes, much better. There you go.
Okay. Okay, good. So I kind of wanted just to make a comment and get your perspectives. I know we have a lot of new people on tonight, and for me, it was a question for me when you were all talking about tether. There might be somebody that does not understand what that means to tether your money or tether your Bitcoin. And with the recent loss of Luna, there may be people that don't really know about crypto, but they heard about this Luna, and that might be more fear, like, well, I don't want to get in there. Explain the importance of what we learn from education in the class. 1, not having all your eggs in one basket. And 2, the alternative you talked about this morning, how you said tether was a little scary. All those good little nuggets that we get in class, share that with some of the new folks on.
Well, briefly, because I don't want to give away all the good stuff that our inner circle gets by being in the inner circle, but I will share this. Mr. Nelson talked about this. We have to be able to manage our emotional level and see where on that range we fit. There's more than 13,000 crypto coins out there, and 90% of them will be gone in 10 years. What we want to be able to do is find the ones that will stick around. So we go back to the internet era, the .com era. Anybody that had skills on how to build a website before 1998 could make a fortune by selling their idea and website to a Fortune 500 company for $10 million to $100 million. It had no proof, no value behind it, no real world application. It was just an idea. And they were going like hotcakes. And then all of a sudden the dot-com bust happened and all of those companies went away. But some survived, like Amazon, like Yahoo, like Google, the current Alibaba, the current version of what we see the giants in the space today. The same is going to happen to the crypto space. We are heading towards the big, I call it the big pain. There is going to be a dot-com type crash in crypto where a lot of projects that are hot right now are going to go away almost overnight. Luna was a good example. Luna, I had in the wallet that we shared, I had it was my number 3 coin. I was very thinking, oh, long term, this one's going to be big. It's going to be great. Their real world project idea, fantastic, but completely mismanaged by an arrogant and egocentric CEO. And sometimes you got to take that into account. And his enemies took him down, not his concept, not his design. His enemies figured out the flaw in it and exposed it and brought it down and caused $40 billion wiped away. Now, for somebody that's brand new that to see that, oh, I'm scared, that person has no business being into crypto. Because when you're educated, you know that there's still 13,000 coins. If you diversify, like our portfolio, yeah, we lost that one, but we still got 20 other more. You know, we only need 2 or 3 of them to work. So if you're diversified, then you can handle the losses. And one thing I always teach, I guarantee you will lose money in this space somewhere along the way. No matter how educated you are, you might win a lot of money on one, and then you think you got something on another one, and it doesn't work. Like Marty Saul and Fallon told me I can trade them. They just learned this past week. It happens. It happens to the best of us at any given time. But your education will minimize your losses and maximize your gains. So I would tell that person if they're nervous about what happened with Luna, then they need to get educated. Now let's talk about the Tether side of things. Tether is what we call a stable coin. So you have cryptocurrency coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. Then you have stable coins like Tether, formerly UST, USDC. These are tokens that people say, should I invest in Tether, have it in my portfolio? No, it's not. It's not a crypto. It's tied to the dollar 1-to-1. Like, for example, I always like using this. I use this in Dallas. These are Chuck E. Cheese coins, okay? Chuck E. Cheese coins. And I got this little, because when my kids were younger, whatever Chuck E. Cheese coins they didn't use, we brought them home to use next time. So how do you get a Chuck E. Cheese coin? Well, you have to purchase it in Chuck E. Cheese and swap 1/4 for this, because you can't play any of the games without Chuck E. Cheese coins. And so the only thing you can do in the whole Chuck E. Cheese ecosystem, you need these. But these are always tied 1-to-1 with US dollars. Now, can you cash these out? I don't know. Does Chuck E. Cheese allow you to resell these to them? I don't remember. I think the reason why we have a whole bunch of them is because we can only use them. But in the crypto space, there's a version of Chuck E. Cheese coins that you now have that's tied to the dollar in the crypto space. Now, what do you use those for? Well, you use them to hedge against volatility. So if you know the crypto market's about to go crazy and go down, you can move your tokens into Tether. So let's say if Bitcoin's at $40,000 and you feel that the market's going to drop down to 30, you have 2 choices to make, or 3 choices to make. You can ride it all the way down to 30,000. Now, you don't lose unless you sell. You just lost the value of what it used to be worth, but you still have the same amount of tokens. You can sell it and move it into fiat money into your bank account at $40,000 because you're scared of it losing it, or you can move it into Tether, which means it never leaves the cryptocurrency space. You just moved it into the Tether system, where even though Bitcoin now goes to 30,000, you still have $40,000 worth sitting in Tether. Then you take it out of Tether, put it back into Bitcoin at 30,000. You now have more coins, more Bitcoin at 30,000 than you did at 40,000. then when the market goes back up to 40,000, you just made a whole lot of money. And that's what bots do and the wealthy do every day. When you see the markets moving like that, they're not selling their coins back into their bank account. They're moving it from a stable coin back into the market, back into stable coins, back into the market, back and forth. And the reason why I said this morning that is my greatest fear as Tether's concerned is because UST could not maintain its dollar peg, and $40 billion wiped out when it dropped. Tether is right now at around $73 billion that they say they have in reserves. If anybody wanted to pull their Tether out, they have the money backing it. I question if they actually have those in reserves or what they actually have that's holding that peg together, because they refuse to do a legitimate audit that the government can see. And if everybody decided at the same time to pull all their Tether out, I have a question if they'll be able to handle that. Right now, nobody's trying to do that, but it's the same question I have with the bank. If everybody decided to run on the bank like George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life, will the bank be able to, I think the ATM machines will run out, they'll lock up the banks. And then we're going to see the introduction of the Fed coin or the digital dollar as a safety reason. They're waiting for that. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic. So I hope, Pat, that in a short term helps you to understand what Tether is.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. Ms. Casa, you're up.
Okay, just real quick, I had a moment when we were talking about Luna. Okay, so you always tell us that our education will definitely keep us from making the bigger mistake. Okay, so I thought, hey, if I do my research and the project is good, it's a long-term project, my money is safe there. And so instead of what I first heard the news, that something was going wrong with Luna, I should took some money out and tethered it or hid it away. And I didn't, because I thought, oh, this is a real world project. There's no way anything can go wrong. It sounds solid. I've been following them for a year and a half. They're going to be able to pull out of this. And I lost some money. And for me, even a little bit of money is a lot of money. But I also learned a serious lesson. No matter how much research you do, no matter how solid the project may seem to us, we have no idea what's going on in the background. And pay attention to the news. Yes, you guys, get in the inner circle, because Brandon is giving us the most current news. And when he first said something about Luna, if I would have moved then, I would have saved myself a lot of money. So that was just my aha moment. You never know.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And when we talk about doing our research and vetting a project, there's a difference between vetting in the network marketing world space that we're used to and vetting in crypto. Two different skill sets. And I've lost more than $100,000 when I thought I vetted a company properly. And what do I mean is, one company, I vetted them thoroughly. I knew exactly where their bank accounts were. I knew what bank they were with. I met with the attorneys of this company, the law firm that was representing them, that was the largest in their country. I met with the board. I saw with their crypto accounts. I saw the money, how everything was flowing. I saw the project and what they were doing. I saw their software system actually doing the live trades. So I knew it was actually going on. And to top it off, I also knew the CEO and founder personally. He used to be in my organization years ago. You can't vet it any better than that. But at the end of the day, people are people. And when that company got too big and got under the noses of their three-letter word agency, started to want to investigate to prove what you're doing is correct. When that heat is on you, and you're a CEO sitting on $500 million, and you think, oh, I don't want to go through all this, and you run off with all the money. That happens. So sometimes you can do all your due diligence and still things go wrong. This is, again, also why you have to follow my 4 rules I have in this space. If you follow the 4 rules, which I'm going to cover later in the week, you got to come back to hear my 4 rules that will save you from losing your house, losing your car, losing your savings, and that if you happen to fall in something that might end up being a scam or an exit scam or not legitimate or not last, because to be real, 90% of most businesses don't make it through their first year outside of crypto. So if a business that's not able to last, how you can still be profitable and not lose everything, even if you're in something that turns out to be wrong or bad. But you got to come back later in the week to hear about how to do that. So thank you for that question, Ms. Casa. All right, next up, the Bull, Mr. Provis Lofties. Go right ahead, sir.
What's up, brother? How y'all doing tonight? First off, congratulations to Marnita, her daughter, graduating. I love seeing that, by the way. Hey, I just want to, I guess, play, you know, it's always an exception to every rule, and play devil's advocate to a couple of worlds, to one thing. First and foremost, what we were just talking about, what Marnita was asking about, was about Luna, right? So I've been watching Luna since all this drama happened, right? And y'all know I do my research, or at least I like to think I do. I dive deep into it, right? So stayed up late one night, was doing the research. Obviously, we saw Luna go from almost $120, was it $119, I believe, was ATH, the all-time high, and it went all the way down to 0.00000, 1 6 zeros, right? I'm sorry if I'm ripping the scab off the wound for some of y'all, but it's got to be done. So I watched this, but I also watched it. 2 of those 1 0 disappeared. So it was 0.5 zeros, then another 0. Then it was 0.4 zeros, right? So now, I decided, you know what? Let me play with this. I put a little less than $200 on it. And that's all I did was a little less than $200, but I made money off it, right? Here's what you may or may not know. And I found this out in my research. Something that, what's his name, Quan or whatever his name is?
Do Kwon, yeah.
Yeah. What he did was he created a burn wallet. And this is a public burn wallet for basically all of the Luna, people that own Luna. And so basically what has happened is this has turned into a community coin or community token, right? So anybody, I can burn it, you know, if I want to. I can burn my holdings if I want to. What happens when you burn value or when you burn coins or tokens? Pat, remember we talked about this when we were in doubt. What happens? It drives the value up, right? So if you notice, Luna right now is at 0.000. So I suspect, and just like you were just saying, Brandon, a second ago, as far as, you know, we look at you know, when the right time is to buy, you know, if a coin is more than 50%, you know, of its value, or what is all-time high once was, this is the time to buy. Well, this has already surpassed what is 100% past its all-time high. So I'm buying. Now it may or may not go anywhere, but I believe in the project itself. I never bought any Luna early on, but I just recently bought some, and I'm making money. I'm gonna continue on making money until the well runs dry. So the other thing with that, or not with that, but the other thing that Marnita was asking about, you know, how to deal with people, with negative people when it comes to crypto, when they ask questions, you know, or when they say it's a Ponzi scheme, right? So I ask them questions right back. You know, I can be a bit facetious sometimes. I know it's hard to believe, but I can't be. I just ask the question, you know, are you a wager? Do you have a job? And if they say yes, then you're a part of the biggest Ponzi scheme that it is, because you don't make more than your boss. You know, and I look at it like that. Ponzi schemes, I know James gave the technical and, you know, maybe the educational, you know, educated answer on it. But that's my question to them. Are they wagers? If they are wagers, do you make more than your boss? If you don't make more than your boss, then you're a part of the biggest Ponzi scheme around. I'm done. That's all I want to say.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lofties. And, you know, when Marnita were talking about vetting, Michael Novogratz, billionaire, he got Luna tattooed. He was so sure of that project, he got a Luna tattoo. Then you've got the CEO of Binance, call him CZ, goes down in history as losing the most amount of money in the shortest period of time. He lost $87 billion in less than 180 days because he was so sure of Luna. So again, it happens. Now he's still worth more than 10 billion, but it happens to the best. These happen, and it will happen. You just got to be able to understand that now. And I would move Luna from being a long-term strategy to a short-term strategy. Like Perlvin said, with it dropped that way and that volatility, there were some people who made millions off of Luna off the drop. They bought that sucker all the way down, dropped like $100,000 in it. It popped back up 400% on a soft cat bounce. They sold it, then it dropped back down, and they walked away with the bag. Yeah, the day traders who figured that out. It may never get back to where it was, but there is short-term opportunity there. But I do believe in their project long-term now. Is will their management be able to pull it off? And that's going to be the biggest question. All right, we, ladies and gentlemen, are at the top of the hour now. So that concludes night one, day one of the People's Money Challenge. For the first time, we open this up for everybody. Those of you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you're all seeing this. And you see that which normally has shut off the stream, you now see what the VIPs get. All the questions that asked, all the new information that was shared wasn't in the first hour. The aha moments happened in the second hour where you can ask your questions. So I invite you, get back to whoever invited you to join our People's Money Challenge. And we encourage you to upgrade to VIP so you can get off the Facebook side and the YouTube side and be here with us in the private Zoom so that you can get your questions answered, because this is just getting started. Tomorrow we're going to break down what is the blockchain. And then we're going to talk about cryptocurrencies on Wednesday. Then we're going to talk about unlocking it, wallets and security on Thursday. Then we're going to talk about your strategy on Friday. So you want to be a part of this site. Oh, and also we're giving away Bitcoin. Who loves to get free money, free Bitcoin? Well, the only way you can get free money is if you are a VIP. So if you're a VIP and you do the homework assignments every day, then next Monday, a week from today, we're going to do our recap call. Yeah, guys, I just thought about my timing. Yeah, we're going to be doing our recap call next Monday, and we're going to do the Bitcoin draw. So those who have in it, we're going to pick out 3 winners. Each winner is going to earn $100 worth of Bitcoin. Draw for 3. Now, if the VIP is $97, you might just win that back. Now you got all of this for free. So that's coming up. Thank you guys for joining us. All you VIPs, wave to everybody. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for wearing your shirts and your questions. And come back tomorrow, and we will be doing day 2 with more panelists tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Bitcoin Brandon out. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.